American Horror Story Apocalypse, titled The Morning After, just aired, and I couldn't wait for the morning after to have this discussion and talk about this show. So here I am. I'm doing it now, right after I just saw it. So let's get right to it. The episode starts out with Emily in her room, and out of nowhere comes these snakes. Just snakes coming out of everywhere, running on the clothes in the closet area, and they just look menacing. And when she screams, Miss Mead and her crew comes in and chopped one of the snake. Here Miss Mead saying, "Oh, this looks like some good eating." I'm like, what? How you know that's not contaminated? And Emily asked the same question. She said there are no scars on there, there's no sores on there, so it must be edible. And you're damn right they served it. They come out with bowls and bowls of chopped up snake. It looked like the snakes honestly looked like rubber pieces in the, like, it did not look like even cooked meat or any sort of cooked protein. It just looked very jello like. They didn't even take the skin off. It was just ugh. And so Coco had a problem with it, and she's like, I don't eat anything with less than 2 legs or whatever like that. I don't eat things with no legs. So of course Stu's boyfriend had to come with something shady, because they're more willing to eat a human than eat a snake. Because they nasty. But we move on, and before they could even eat, the snakes somehow come back alive and they've multiplied. Like, everybody has like 3 snakes coming out of their bowls, and they're all freaking out. Before the snakes and everything, Timothy asks what happened the night before. Like, who was that? Like, someone came through, someone breached the wall, so what's going on? And Miss Venable, of course, she shrugged it off. You don't need to know that until it's time for you to know that. Then come the introduction of Langdon. He's not going by Michael, he's going by Langdon. And Langdon is just, you know, he's setting off all kind of bells for everyone in the house. They're just like, what is this creepy dude doing? Like, what's up with the eyeshadow? Like, the red eyeshadow? Pop, 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 making them eyes pop. So Langdon explained to them, and I guess we find out what happened to the East Coast, or at least to the Northeast. We find out that in New York there was already a colony, or one of the situations set up like what Miss Venable have going on right there. There is already one of those, and they've already fallen to the dogs. They are all dead. They're all gone. And Langdon is basically saying that he's been there, and you know, he's seen all of this stuff that happens and whatever. So now he's here to make sure that this area goes more successful and they're able to save at least some of the people, and he'll be running some tests to see who is worthy of being moved to wherever he's trying to get them to, because he doesn't want to disclose too much information about where they would go if they passed his test. Out of nowhere, Mr. Gallant decided that he was gonna be the first one to be interviewed or be tested. And of course, Langdon was happy to oblige, and he was willing to take him as his first interviewee. So he goes up and he has a conversation with him, and he's trying to find out what the real tea is on Mr. Gallant. Okay, he's trying to find out what makes him tick. What is the issue that's going on down deep inside? And he started telling the story about how his grandmother tried to hook him up with all these bunch of dudes, but the dudes were just hoping that she would give them, you know, she would leave him the money and they would somehow get some if they marry him. but he's always been rebellious. It seems like he's flirting with Langdon. Like, Gallant, what are you doing? You flirting with the devil? Like, what's going on? So he thinks that Langdon is reciprocating his actions and flirting back, but he can't really tell. He can't read him. So after he leaves and goes to his room, he is of course approached by our old-time friend from Murder House, the man in the black rubber suit, or latex, I should say, the latex suit, the black latex suit. Oh. And they proceed to do the tango. He's just giving it to him. He's just going to town on him. And here comes Grandma with her just like annoying ass coming in and watching and seeing that, oh my god, oh my god. At no point did she stop and think, oh no, this is my grandchild. I should probably not rat on him for having sex in this place that unauthorized copulation is illegal. So she goes and tell on him, and of course he gets punished. So, but what we're getting to find out is that all this unauthorized copulation BS is not, it's not a thing that they're actually doing regarding the whole corporation. That's not a part of the whole group. It's just Miss Venable who's giving these ridiculous rules to these people. And while he's being punished, he's being, you know, whipped and everything, and he's not ratting out Langdon at all. And then Langdon comes in after they stop, and he's like, I wouldn't even tell them it was you. I wouldn't rat you out, even when they hit me with a cat of nine tails, and like they could hit me a little bit more, blah blah blah. I just think of you the whole time. And he's like, what? I never did anything with you. So he's like, what do you mean? Like, I never did anything with you. You're pathetic. I realized something about you, that the only thing that you need is love. You are pathetic. You don't need any of your other holes filled. The only hole you need filled is the one in your heart. And I'm just like, damn, bro. Like, you didn't have to do him like that. Like, what is this? He's like, you're pathetic. Oh, Mr. Gallant is now feeling like shit. And they just release him back into the rest of the population of all of them to confront his grandma, who's just, you know, she's just overcome with herself. She's just like, yes, yeah, I did it. I did it to save myself. I will live 50 more lives than you will have ever. She's just so full of her bullshit. She feels like she's so much better than her grandson, and that he's pissed his whole life away with drugs and bankruptcy and just getting ass everywhere, just slamming ass all over town and just snorting everything that came in front of him. And she just tell him everything in front of him, and he's like, the only thing I ever want from you is love. Why have you never given me that? And it's like real deep emotional shit coming from Mr. Gallant. But Grandma ain't having that. She's like, I'm trying to live, boo. My life is worth a lot more than yours. I feel like they kind of shift a little bit where last week's episode, in the first episode of Apocalypse, we had Joan Collins as the main like comedic relief of the episode, whereas in this episode I feel like it's Coco. Like, Coco is just so dull. And she's so dull that everything she says has some sort of comedic background. And then like Mallory is like the perfect balance out. Like, they have this one line that stuck out to me. She was like, we have enough Chris to make a movie. Like I don't even remember exactly what she said, but it's talking about all the Chris's in Hollywood and how we have so much options in this generation than Joan Collins this generation ever had. So we move on from the comic relief of this whole episode, and we kind of got down to the nitty-gritty, and we found out a few stuff. First, before we find out a key information, the two little Dalmatians, the two little pretty ones, Emily and Timothy, they went off to have sex because apparently they found a laptop in Langdon's room. So they're like, if he can have a laptop, why can't we have sex? Logic. What kind of logic is that? And like, he can have a laptop and we can break the rules too. We're totally gonna have sex. They have sex and they're caught. And of course, there's no leniency towards them. And you know, Emily, she got mouthy with Miss Venable, and she's like, you're just making up rules. You're just getting, like, she confronted her. I was just like, girl, what you doing? You trying to die? You're really trying to die. You should be begging for your life at this moment. And Miss Venable sent them to be, you know, I guess, killed and washed off or whatever. While they have the gun at Timothy's head, he grabs it and he shot Miss Mead. He shot her. So now we're like, oh, she's gonna bleed out, she's gonna die, or she's gonna get help, she's gonna fix. And then she walks out after, you know, they knocked him out and whatever. She goes out and we find out that, spoiler alert, we find out that homegirl's a robot. She is a robot. A robot. Sit on that. Think about that for a second. A robot. This whole time she's been a robot. Continuing, we're almost at the end of the episode, and Latex Suit Man comes back. And this time, you know, Mr. Gallant is like, oh, I'm too pathetic. You think I'm pathetic? I'll show you pathetic. And he grabs a pair of scissors and he just stabs down into Rubber Suit Man. But little do we know, it's his grandma. It turned right back into Grandma, and we see Grandma dead with a whole bunch of blood. He killed his grandma. He killed her. That goes hand in hand with the whole theme of deception. There's just so much deception going on here when it comes on to Langdon. Another thing that I didn't talk about is Langdon talking to Miss Venable, where he just basically set her straight that he is the boss in here, and he basically told her that she failed her test because there's some sort of scarring on Miss Venable's back, and she's very self-conscious about it or something. I don't know what the story is. Maybe we'll find out more about that in next week's episode. And he basically shamed her by pulling down her zipper to see what is going on her back. I don't know how he knew that there was something on her back to look there, but he recognized that was the thing, and he made her cry, basically. There's just so much manipulation coming from Langdon. He tells a story about this woman who was walking with her children, and they found out that one of the children were already dead, and the other one was just suffering, and the mom begged them to kill her child. The living child, of course. And he was crying. He was just being so deceptive, like he was full on crying. And then Miss Venable asked him, so did you kill him? Did you kill the child? And he's like, no. This is like, I don't know, it just snapped right out of the tears and everything, just snapped right out of it. Why? Because he's very deceptive. And that goes hand in hand with the snakes that we saw. The serpent is very deceptive. I guess you can see Emily as like a forbidden fruit, and the act of Timothy going ahead and you know, Timothy and Emily going ahead and having sex, that's sort of like, that's sort of taking a bite out of the forbidden fruit. They're forbidden from having sex, and they did it, and now they have to face whatever consequences they have coming to them. And also, he became less innocent the moment they have sex, in him becoming, I guess, a criminal in their eyes because he shot Miss Mead, not to mention the other one of her lackeys that he hit with the hose, the pipe thing, whatever that's called. So it's I think they're using that as some sort of biblical reference, is in like the Garden of Eden, and that's why they have so much serpents and snakes, because here's the devil and he's tempting them, and he tempt them to do something that's forbidden, and now they have a whole lot of consequences coming their way. I don't know what's gonna happen to Timothy and Emily, but we shall see. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.